Welcome, superstar. We're going to talk about coaching with me, and we're going to take a client perspective on this. Keith is going to share a little bit about the last 3 years that we've spent coaching together, some of the breakthroughs he's made, some of the value that it's generated in his business and in his life. Okay, superstars, I'm here with Keith Kohler. We're going to talk about his client journey with me. Keith is a finance and financing expert. I've interviewed him a few times for this channel. There's a whole bunch of videos about finances and financing. But now I want to interview him about his journey of mentoring with me so you can get a sense of the journey that he's been on and how he's developed and grown his business as a result of working together. All right, Keith, let's start with why did you sign up to work with me? How did that, let's start about how the beginning of the journey.
Sure. Well, I first met Michelle, how long ago was it?
Almost 20 years,
Almost 20 years ago at the Miami Beach Chamber of Commerce. And it was a networking event, speed networking.
Okay.
And I remember seeing you and I said, wow, here's a dynamic person. I wonder what she's going to do next. And little did I know we'd be working together long into the future. And I was fortunate enough to witness your journey and see all the different iterations you had, how it kept getting more interesting, more interesting. I was fortunate to take that one, Badass.
Oh, you did Make Them Beg.
Make Them Beg.
So look at this, guys. So we met at a networking event 20 years ago. So this is a conversation about marketing, really.
It really is.
And back then, he gave me his business card. Probably I added him to my mailing list.
You did?
With permission, I would hope.
Yes.
Back then, who knows?
No spamming at all.
And then he ended up on my email list.
I did.
And that's where the journey began, right? Think about that. So he bought my very first digital program called Make Them Beg.
And as a result, one of the major benefits I have is I own my name. KeithKohler.com. I bought it right away back then because you said you need to own the first page of Google, and I do for the most part.
All right, so we started it's way back then, and then what was the next layer? Because it took a few years before we really started working together after Make Them Beg.
Yeah.
You got an email from me?
I did.
Okay.
And I became aware that you were going to have an in-person event in Coconut Grove in September 2019.
Okay, so this is one of my preview events.
Yes.
You can see I was promoting my workshops. It was like a 2-hour workshop.
That's right.
To my list, and that's pretty much the only way I promoted it. And Keith got that email, signed up to the workshop, and showed up. And I remember that day.
Yeah, and I showed up, and I was in the room, and I was looking around me. I said, okay, wow, this is a pretty big audience.
Yeah. There
must be something here. I must see something about this. And I saw you on stage. I said, wow, and look at this new version of Michelle. And I was captivated by your presentation, mainly because it was image-driven, right?
Right.
It wasn't you reading words on a screen,
right?
Which anyone can do.
Right, yeah. My slideshows tend to be very picture-heavy and emotional pictures.
That's it.
Like, I don't do a lot of conceptual stuff. I'm doing emotions, the images that evoke emotion. So
yeah, absolutely. And your presentation really spoke to me. And I misguidedly at first thought, oh, this is fantastic. I'm going to get a marketing plan.
Well, you did get that.
Yes.
So what he's talking about is that he signed up for my retreat. I think it was called the Business Breakthrough Retreat.
It was Business Breakthrough,
back then.
In October 2019.
And the goal is, the thing that I lead with is that you will get a business plan. So you signed up for the retreat so that you could get a business plan, marketing plan.
Right.
And what happened at the retreat?
So I got there and I'm looking around. I really felt a little bit awkward, out of place.
Yeah.
Because suddenly you start using language that I haven't heard before.
Okay. If you know my channel, you know that's true.
Right. And wait a minute, this is interesting. This feels more inclusive. It's not Michelle talking at me. I'm feeling more part of a group. And then, okay, great. You start getting to numbers.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm ready. This is my jam. So I lean forward. I'm all excited. And what I notice is when you start talking about the numbers, the air goes out of the room for nearly everybody else. Wah, wah, wah. And then I looked around and I said, this is my market. I can do something here. Yeah, I really felt that very intuitively and palpably. And then as we moved through retreat, and then I finally sat with you and I decided to be a part of your program for 1 year, the download that I got, and I found myself very open to receiving that because you created the container where the magic can happen.
Right.
That's a big part of what you do, no doubt.
Thank you.
And what I got was, this is the group that would nurture and amplify me. So nurture and amplify. And really, I didn't know what that meant, but I accepted it. And I realized that the first part of the journey was indeed the first word, was the nurturing and really the doing the work.
Yeah.
And that's what I got to start doing with you.
For those of you who are looking at this and listening to this conversation from the perspective of wanting to have a group model, wanting to have a retreat of your own, the way that Keith has been, now we've been working together 3 years. We'll get through a little more of his story. Moving into our 4th year now, right? Yeah. It started with me enrolling him in that juicy promise, that juicy breakthrough outcome of the retreat, which was, you're going to design a whole new business plan, a new marketing plan, which is really the only reason he signed up.
That's what I thought at first,
right.
Absolutely.
And then in the retreat had many breakthroughs around language, feeling like part of a group, and wanting to take the next step and move into mastery. So that's how you made the decision to say yes to that first year working together.
Absolutely. And I knew I could trust you.
Okay.
I intuitively...
How did you know?
I just knew.
You've seen me for 17 years.
That
or
too.
15 or something.
And this version of you, which was bigger and badder.
So to emphasize this point, that was because I was email marketing all those years. You were sitting on my list.
I was.
You were getting those emails, and we were connected on Facebook.
Yes.
That's about it.
That's right. So I got to see the way you showed up.
So just a note to you all, how important it is to keep that content coming on a regular
100%.
basis.
I would have missed it
to
otherwise.
your people. Yeah.
I would have missed it because had I not seen that level of frequency,
Consistency,
because you were emailing probably every month, every 2 weeks, something like that.
initially every month or every 2 weeks, and then later every week.
There you go. So probably at that time it was somewhere in between the two. So how could I ignore it?
Yeah. All right. So you signed up for the year. What'd you get? How did that year go?
Well, Michelle, there's so much, but one of the things I really want to emphasize, and I'm very grateful for, is I had an issue with receiving.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so I was always that type of person who was great about being giving, showing up for others outwardly, but receiving feedback, receiving attention, dare I say receiving love, was hard for me. And the way that would show up for me was like laughter, which I later learned is when the energy is too much for you to handle, you often use laughter as a way to kind of maybe not absorb it. Now that's not a problem for me.
You diffuse it.
I diffuse it, right? Like, what are the comments you say? You might give me a compliment and oh, no, it's really not that. Instead of, thank you so much, Michelle, I received that.
But what does that matter for business? How did that make a difference in your business?
It made a huge difference because I no longer thought that I had to have all the answers, that it had to be a one-way street, me to the client.
Right.
That I could learn from a client. I'm allowed to receive praise. I'm allowed to hear well done and feel like, not just hear it, but embody it and really feel the head to toe. Well,
you changed your collections too. You had, if I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you had a lot of money outstanding. People owed you money, right? There were issues with client relationships that you've cleaned up. You don't have those issues anymore with collecting, receiving money, right? Because one type of rejection of receiving is cross-contextual. If you're rejecting it over here, you're also rejecting it over here. You might not even realize it.
That's it. You helped me understand the importance of standards.
Oh, yeah.
Standards.
We did a lot of work around that.
Yeah. I didn't really know what that was. I just knew that I was struggling sometimes with sending out invoices and asking people to pay me for work I knew I had done.
Yeah.
I knew I delivered the value. And what was happening was I was not setting the standard or making people understand the rules or whatever you're going to call it up front. The way I work is, right? What a magic phrase.
Yeah.
So simple yet so profound. And it was only when I started integrating that into my work right from the initial kickoff call.
Right.
Like, I'll give you just yesterday, I had a call from a prospective client. in Texas who's a very large manufacturer. And he's like, well, how do I engage with you? In the past, I used to freeze and say, oh, I'll get back to you. Now I confidently say, no, the way I work is boom, boom, boom. I expect this communication. Here's my fee agreement. Let's go.
All right.
Right from the onset. And now it's an easy choice. If they say yes, great. If they say no, fine.
Okay.
But now it's so integrated, so embodied, so easy. I'm not afraid of the rejection. Mm-hmm. And then if it's not a good fit, I trust that it's not a good fit.
Right. We've got so much more we could talk about. I think what we'll do is we'll do a second part of this video, and we're going to dive into some of the business strategies that you've put into place, like the strategy sessions and the sales processes and things like that, because I feel like people would really benefit from learning how you're driving business and how that's evolved and changed as you've started to align the business with your personality more. And in the meantime, if you want to connect with me about potentially attending one of my retreats, finding out how I work and how I might be able to help you, connect with me at superstaractivator.com/go.